Hey, it's David, and in this video we're going to be going through the back end of Grow, and I'm going to give you a quick orientation of how to navigate around the admin end of the site, and a little bit about how each of the elements of Grow works. So if you're logging in for the very first time, you will see over here on the left-hand side your main dashboard. You have the ability to get into the Amplify, Engage, Capture, and Share sections of the site. And then here are your settings and your support area. One of the best things to do to start off is to just go through our setup guide, and that's right here. We'll give you a quick look at that. So it's going to walk you through each of the things you need to do. So we've got your Grow account set up. The next thing is to set up your autoresponder. So if you simply click on this, link it now, then you'll have the ability to connect either directly one of your autoresponders, one of the ones that we integrate with, and if we don't integrate directly with your autoresponder, you can always drop in the HTML code. In addition to autoresponders, we also have integrations with Usign for images that you can directly connect to Grow, with Webinar Geo, with ArpReach, with Demio, and Clavio, and we're going to be adding additional things beyond this as time goes forward based on user demand. But you'll see we have a Zapier integration here, but the standard sort of get response, Aweber, Active Campaign, Campaign Monitor, go to Webinar. I should have mentioned that's a webinar, not a platform, not an autoresponder. Constant Contact, iContact, SendLane, MailChimp, of course, and MadMimi, and so on. So we have these integrations that you can put together, and again, that's going to be part of the setup guide. Really easy to just go through and take care of each of these. You can also connect Grow to your website, and this is simply by downloading our WordPress plugin that you can get over here. And in this case, we haven't set up a website connection here, but you can go into the settings, and I'll show you this in a moment. Go into the installation, and we have a WordPress plugin. All right, let's go back to support section and the setup guide. And then basically, we want to bring you through the process of making your first draft of each of these things. It's going to be a fairly straightforward process once you understand how to navigate, but go ahead and create an Amplify campaign, an Engage campaign, a Capture campaign, a Share campaign, and you'll see in the video here how each of these work. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on each of them, but you'll be able to really understand the basics pretty quickly here. All right. Under support, we also have a knowledge base. If you click on that, that'll take you over to the knowledge base where you can get a quick start guide and a whole bunch of other details about how each of the elements, the pieces of the puzzle work. So if you're looking for information on your account or installing something, using custom domains, how to go over to your DNS panel and change that. We integrate with a platform called Cloudflare in order for you to be able to easily integrate. And then how to basically set up all of your campaigns, the campaign builder. It's all sort of outlined here. We provide screenshots and pretty good details on how this all works. All right, let's jump out of the knowledge base. We'll just come back over here. If you have any questions whatsoever, you can always open a ticket here. That will jump over to my support desk, and either myself or a member of my team can get back to you with any questions you may have. So this is just loading up here. I got a lot of windows open and doing a whole bunch of stuff in the background. But you can simply fill out a support ticket right here, and we'll take care of getting back to you as soon as we possibly can. All right, let's take a walk through the platform itself. Again, the general setup guide you're going to see here in the knowledge base. You'll get a quick start guide to how to connect it to everything. But let's jump into the platform itself. So as you know, there are 4 sections. Let's actually go back to the dashboard here. 4 sections of Grow. Amplify, those are the full screen takeovers. So somebody loads a website, and we'll then see after a delay or an action, they will see a full drop down on their website where the entire screen is taken over by your message. Then we have engage, which are just sort of basic pop-ups, scroll boxes, exit offers that will pop up based on an action or where they've scrolled on the page, etc. Capture is a standalone mini lead capture page, marketing page of some sort. And then finally, share are branded calls to action that you can put on any external site online. So let's go into Amplify, and we'll go ahead and click into new, and you will see a whole lineup of our designs, our templates here. And they're broken down by popular, but then by subject. So if you want to collect an email, a social thing, a promotion, you want to do some segmentation of your audience. So maybe people get to your website and you want to direct them to the right place. So maybe you'll segment them by saying, hey, are you male or female in the example here? Let's go ahead and preview that. So I'll bring this up, and this will pop in over a page on your website as soon as it's loaded here. Okay, so are you male or female? And so let's say we're female, and then it's here's the pop-up for the next step, right? And if we want to dismiss that and go back to the page, then we can go back to the page there. All right, let's get out of here, and let's go back to where we were. Okay, so let's say we want to select one of these. All right, in this case, actually, let's go back to the one that we were looking at before in the segmentation, the male-female. I'm going to go ahead and select that, and we then can adjust it according to our particular needs for our own campaign. So it's a great starting point, but you don't need to necessarily rely on the I'm a male, I'm a female to be your the focus of your topic. You can change all of this text. I can change it simply by saying maybe I want to just say are you a boy or girl, right? And so I can just change that here, girl, right? So that changed that. I can easily just drag and drop, move this stuff around. If I want to change any of the text color here, I can go ahead and change the text color. I can change the font. Here, all of these things I can do internally here. If I want to change the background, right? Basically, the entire process is click on the thing that you want to affect, and then over here on the right-hand side, you'll be able to make the adjustment accordingly. So in this case, I'm going to change to a different background. We preloaded it with dozens upon dozens of different backgrounds, but if you have a background that you'd like to use, we can you can easily just drag and drop that over here, or click that and insert it from your desktop or your computer. So in this case, let's say that I want to change the background. Let's just go ahead with this one. I'll go ahead and insert it, and there we go. So we now have a new background. So that's how easily it works. Now I can do, we're not going to do a complete tour here, but do I want to have this scroll button down here? Yes or no. So I can get rid of that if I don't want it to appear, to tell people that they can get back to the main site. I have the ability to have variations here if I want to. Let's see what else. I can change the background to just a solid color if I want. And here I can just adjust that color accordingly, right? So there's lots of different options that I have. Now, in this case, we have multiple steps here. So if somebody were to choose this, the male, right, over here in the settings, it's going to go to the step number 2, ladies. So it's the ladies step. I'll click on that. Will show that there's this many single ladies in the area for a male, right? And again, if I were to click on the female, in this case, the settings has it going to step number or step men, right? So it will then go over to this one. Okay, a little confusing because we have a change in gender, but I think you get the idea. If you're a man, you're looking for women, it's going to go to the step where there's a list of women, and so on and so forth. So that's just a quick overview of how this works. You'll see, in addition to headlines, lists, paragraphs, icons that you can put in, we have media, so an image, a video. You can take a video and insert it here. All we ask is that you insert the actual video URL. So here's, again, I'm just clicking on this, and we'll go over here to the settings, and you put the video URL in here from YouTube, Vimeo, Vine, Instagram, Dailymotion, etc. Okay, so you have all these options of different things that you can insert. If you have an audio file that's stored on SoundCloud, if you have a video embed code, so you can take the video embed code directly as well. So let's say you're not using one of those services that I listed before. You can simply click on this, go to settings, and insert your video embed code right here. All right, so let's take a look at forms. You can do a built-in opt-in form or a custom opt-in form. If you'd like to have social like buttons, share buttons, etc., you can add those as well. Just a standard button or a click to call button. So let's say this is on a mobile device and you want to have people click to call a phone number. We can put in a button here that will then go specifically to a phone number that you will insert here, so that when they click it on a mobile device, it will automatically call that number. All right, let's take a look at what else we have here. So we have different marketing options, an Amazon widget, an ebook, a computer screen, a quiz. You could actually ask multiple questions if you'd like. Shopify, Teespring, and other things that you can include. This is actually a countdown timer. It's not specific to Teespring, although we call it the Teespring countdown because often people are running a campaign inside Teespring and it ends at a certain time, but you can use this countdown timer for whatever purpose you want, right? So you simply go in here, you set the expiration. So let's go ahead and, in this case, let's say that it's going to end in 4 days from now. And then I can change the things like the background. So right now I have a solid background color. Oops. I have a solid background color here. Let's go back there. And I want to get rid of that background. So I can just get rid of that right there. Okay. You saw how easy that was? I want to change the text color to blue, maybe. All right. And maybe I want to change the font. All right. So this is, again, just an example of how this works. I'm not going to go into every detail. As you navigate yourself around, you'll get a sense of how the dashboard works. If you want to do some geo location stuff on your forms here, you could say, how's the weather in, and then fill in the city, right? And then wherever people are. So in this case, I'm not going to format this, but you'll see how it works in a moment. So here I am in Portland, Oregon is where I live, and so if this does a good job, and I believe it will, all right, we're going to have it say Portland. Okay, so in this case, I'm not going to change the style or anything, but let's just go ahead and do a quick preview. So I'm going to preview it here, and it says Portland. So I didn't change the style, I didn't change the font, the background, or anything, but I want this to look exactly like everything else there. I can easily do that. So I can have it fall into place with the rest of the styling from everything else. Okay, let's see what else we should take a look at here. Get rid of that. We talked about the steps. Okay, so you can put flags and zip codes and stuff like that. We talked about the steps and linking one step to another. So that's what this is here. So, clicking this will go to step 3. Clicking this will go to step 2. That kind of thing. And other miscellaneous stuff. So we can put Google Maps on. We can put just random HTML code. You can embed an external website. This is another countdown timer. It's basically the same thing as this. I'm not quite sure why we have two. Count from one thing to another. You can put layers in, so if you want to put a background over a portion of it. And then tracking code. This is very important. If you are doing any sort of tracking in Facebook or Google AdWords, that is your tracking code, and simply you just put it on one of these things. This is especially helpful if you are going on other people's websites and you're superimposing your stuff there. You'll simply put the tracking code here, and that will be, you know, the Facebook Pixel or the Google tracking code, or whatever other, you know, AdWords, or excuse me, AdRoll or Perfect Audience. You can put all of that tracking in here as well. All right, let's close out of this. I'm going to go ahead and leave without saving. And let's go back to just one other one. So you've taken a look at Amplify now. And then once you have created this, you can assign it to a particular domain if you've set up alternate domains. Otherwise, it'll go directly to our default domain. All right, so go ahead and assign a domain here, and in this case, you would have assigned, you know, a particular domain that you set up. Okay. And then once you have these created, you can name them, you can, you know, manage all of this, and you'll have a list of all of them here. Now, one thing I skipped in that previous view here is, okay, now that you have this up, let's say, you know, this is the name, right? And you might want to put a description of it and all that sort of thing. Where is this going to show up? Maybe if it's one of those click-to-call things, it'll be mobile only. Excuse me. Is it persistent, or is it closable? Does it lock the screen until it's completed? Do you want to delay the number of seconds before it shows up? Is it going to slide down? Is it going to fade in? In this case, if it's on a website, is it showing on all pages, or are you excluding particular pages? If it's not showing on all pages, is there a specific page that it's going to show up on? Who should see it? So this is really helpful if you want everybody to see it, if you want new visitors to see it, returning visitors to see it, visitors coming from a specific place. So let's say you want only people who come from Facebook to see it, or only people who come from some other place. So you can define all of that here as well. And you can even exclude particular sources for who's seeing a particular pop-in. So you can see how pretty versatile this is pretty quickly. Okay, Engage. Let's go into Engage, and you'll see basically the same setup, but in this case, Engage is going to be pop-ups, scroll bars, and scroll boxes and things like that. And so here we have 115 currently different examples. So, you know, here's a template that I use here on my website, the hold on a sec. This is going to be like an exit intent, or you know, if somebody's mouse starts to leave the screen, we might say hold on, right? So in this case, we'll go ahead and select it. And I'm not going to do too much else in terms of the design, but you get the sense of how this all works here. And as soon as it's loaded, all right, I'm going to go ahead and show you the preview in, right, so this is a desktop preview. This is the preview in a tablet, and then on a phone. So you can adjust these things. So if, you know, I want to have this image with the arrow, I can have it go away. I can reorder these things if I want to. So you can see how that works. On each of the mobile devices, you can reorder all this. Okay, but in this case, let's just say we're happy with the way it is. We're going to go ahead and save it. And let's close this. Okay, so now this is a pop-up, and in addition to the options we had in the previous one, we now have the option of when to display the pop-up. So after a certain number of seconds, on exit intent, right? So if somebody is planning to leave the screen, it'll show up. Now on mobile devices, this is important to know. There is no such thing as an exit intent on a mobile device, and so there's a fallback. You can either have it on scroll or a certain amount of time after somebody gets to the page. All right, on page close, when they're scrolling, what percentage of the page they've scrolled, or manually you can actually put a button that you would insert on your page and have somebody click that button, and then the pop-up would show up. So those are the different options. And then again, down below that, you would have the option to define what pages and all of that sort of thing, as well as we did on the previous example. Okay, capture is pretty much the same thing, except it's not a pop-up, it's just a standalone page. And then finally, share. Now, share, what you would do is you would create individual brands. So let's say I have a brand. I want to have this be Joe Tester, and this is going to be, my image that I have here. I'm going to go ahead and save this brand. And oops, I did not define a URL. I don't know why I forgot to do that. Okay, let's just make it davidbear.me. Okay, and so here is Joe Tester's brand, and now I'm going to go ahead and create a specific box. And so in this case, I could have multiple brands, and each brand could define a specific box. Now, all right, so we are going to use Joe Tester, and do I want to create an opt-in form? Do I want to drive traffic? Do I want to just have a simple button? This is my favorite one, a text link, or do I want to just have a retargeting code and nothing else, which is kind of cool. You can send traffic to websites and grow your retargeting list simply by tracking the code and not having any pop-up whatsoever. Okay, let's go back and let's say it's a button. Now I can change, so we're going to just call this test. Where do I want this to show up? The bottom left, bottom right, top left, top right of the screen. Okay, so in this case, let's just make it the bottom left. That's my favorite place. Let's have a delay of 5 seconds for this to show up. And then, you want to have some text here. So there's placeholder text. A good eye-catching title should do nicely here. And then where else do we want this? We want to have this. Where do we want to have it go? Well, let's say that I want to have it go to I don't know, my main website. All right, so bearonmarketing.com. And sign up now. Okay, so there's no real call to action here, but this is just a good example, right? And then we can change the styling. Now we have some default styling that we can adjust here. It's there's a few options here. We'll probably be doing some customization down the road, but at the moment this is pretty much okay. So let's say we want to do that. Okay, so there we go. Now I can take this and I can create a specific call to action. So let's say I want to run, I don't know, USA Today is always my favorite example. And we'll just run this over to usatoday.com. Now I could do any site I want to, and in this case we're going to use a box. Now I could also use a pop-up or a conversion mat here. So remember that we haven't created any of those, but that I've saved, but we could use a conversion mat. Now in this case, I created the test option here, and I could actually just go ahead and share this right on Facebook if I wanted to. So I'm going to go ahead and save. And what it's going to do is it's giving me this is my share link. So I'm going to go over to, let's go over to Twitter. Actually, let's go over to Facebook. All right, so I can go to Facebook now. And on Facebook, I have the ability to go ahead and share this. And so I got that share link, which should load in just a moment. Come on, good old Facebook. All right. And I am going to share this. Actually, I'm going to just share it with myself so it doesn't get shared publicly. All right. We'll get there in a second. Mighty slow at the moment here. Okay. So I'm going to just change this from public to only me. Now you wouldn't do this, but I just don't want anybody seeing this publicly. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and drop that link right in here. Now, in my case, I use this pretty frequently with Post Planner, or you can do this with Hootsuite or something else like that if you'd like. All right, so I'm just running this here, and it automatically loads that. And look, down here, the link says usatoday.com. So, I could put some sort of interesting intro here, check this out. Let's see if I can spell that correctly, out. All right, I'm going to go ahead and post it. Now, here's the post. If somebody clicks on this, we'll go ahead and click on that, and they're going to go over to USA Today as they had expected. And, they're starting to read. And whoa, wait a second. There is the pop-up, right? And I have a call to action there. So if they click on it, where do they go? They go to that redirect that we talked about earlier, which is going over to, in this case, should be going over directly to my website. We got a lot of ads and things that USA Today is loading, so it's a little bit slower. But there you go. So now they are here on my website. So I can direct lots of traffic that way. I can also do that retargeting pixel inside of the share button as well. So lots of different options here. And that's pretty much how the share goes. So there you go. Any questions at all, let me know. I'm reachable right here through support. Just click open ticket, and happy to be of whatever help I can be in getting you up and running and collecting lots of leads and converting lots of your website visitors going forward. So, hey, this is David from Baron Marketing and Grow. Thanks so much for checking out this video, and have fun growing your business with Grow. Take care.